Hello everyone, my name is Rohan Poddar and welcome to another INSEE tutorial video for IPSDB 1.0. Today we are going to see how you can build process sequences very easily and quickly using IPSDB. Before I start with the tutorial, let's have a look at the PNID for the process for which we are going to create a sequence. As you can see, there is a header section at the top that contains ingredients for cleaning and production. There is a production tank and there are outlet routes. I will build this entire system by the time I finish with this tutorial series, but for now I'm only going to show you how you can build a sequence for pre-wash or of the production tank. I've separated the pre-wash route from the PNID. Let's have a look at it and the sequence steps that we will follow to create the sequence. First, I will start the header. I will create a header route consisting of P02 as pump and V02 as valve. Then I will open the cold water inlet valve V09 for tank T1. I will fill up the tank up to certain level. I will start the mixer. Then I will open the recirc valve. Then I will start the outlet pumps. I will continue doing the recirc for the duration set by the recipe. Once the duration has elapsed, then I'm going to open the cold water return valve V17. And then once it is opened, then I'm going to close the recirc valve V14. And then I'm going to wait for the tank to empty. Once it is empty, then I'm going to stop the mixer. Then also I'm going to stop the outlet pumps. And then I'm going to close V17. And that will be the end of the sequence. So let's start building the sequence. I've already populated the control modules and the equipment modules that you will need for this tutorial. I've also added a set point table with a single set point for mixer start level and also the recipe with 3 parameters so far for pre-wash. I have given the facility of 30 parameters so that I can use the same recipe when I will start building the rest of the project. Let's get started. First, I'm going to need a sequence. So I'm going to create a sequence called T1 pre-wash sequence. T1 pre-wash sequence. And then I'm going to select the category as SEQ, stands for sequence. I'll create add. It takes a few seconds to create the sequence. On the left-hand side, you can select the step and condition that you want to edit. So I'm going to select the running phase. I want to be in step number 1 and step transition number as 0. I'm going to say show configuration. You will see it's in running step number 1 and transition 0. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start the header route. Okay, so start the header route. Okay, and let's see, route start is running, cold water header running. Okay, start cold water header route. Okay, I'm going to save that. Right. Now that the header is opened, the next thing I want to do is open valve V09. I'm going to do that in the same step. So in the next transition, I'm going to add the action as open V09. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that my route is running. And then I'm going to see the condition as the valve has opened. So that's V09 is opened and save. Okay, and I want to keep the valve open till the tank level is up to 50%. So I'm going to go in the same step, next transition. I'm going to say I want to wait in that step till my tank level, which is LP01, is greater than or equal to, or I'm going to say increased by and that is going to be one of my recipe parameter, which is pre-wash level for tank. Okay, I'm going to say T1 pre-wash level reached. Okay, and click save. So that's my first step. That's how simple it is to configure steps in the sequence. Okay, so after the tank is full up to 50%, in the next step, what I want to do is close cold water header and inlet valve. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Stop the root, header root. Make sure that it is stopped. Cold water header stopped. Okay. In the same step, I'm going to say V09 close, V09 closed, V09 is closed. Okay. Right. So this time I've got my tank full up to 50%. My header is closed. Now I want to start the mixer. And I also want to start the recirc at the same time. Okay. So in the next step, I'm going to say start mixer and recirc. Okay. So let's start the mixer. Select the mixer. Mixer running. Okay. So I started the mixer. And the next thing I want to do is open the recirc. Right. So what I'm going to do is open that valve and make sure that these valves are closed. Okay, so going back to the sequence, I'm going to just start the mixer for this step. And in the next step, I'm going to say open recirc valves. Okay, and my recirc valve is 14 and it is open. V14 is opened. Okay, now V14 is open and I want to make sure that 16, 17, 18, 19 and 15 is closed. So I'm going to call it root. And then next. So I want to make sure 15 to 19 are closed. So I'm going to say B15 close. B15 is closed. B15 is closed. Okay. So I'm going to save that. And I'm going to copy this condition. I'm going to go into next transition. I'm going to paste it there. And I'm going to call it V16. 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 Save. Okay. Copy it again. Go to the next one. Paste it. Change that to V17. V17. That's it. I'm going to do the same thing for 18 and 19. 18. Okay, so now we've opened this valve and closed these valves. So now, if I start the pumps, they should pump the water in a recirc route. Okay, so let's just start the pump. So in the next step, start T1 outlet pumps. Okay, so the outlet pumps are in duty standby configuration and are controlled by DS01. So I'm going to start DS01, and that should make sure that the duty pump starts. So let's just go ahead and do that. DS01 start. DS01 is running. DS01 is running. Okay, I'm going to save that. So that should start the correct pump. But now, because this is a VSD, it needs a speed set point, which comes from this PID controller. Therefore, we need to start this PID controller as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I've called the PID controller as a flow controller FC01. So I'm just going to go ahead and start that. FC01 is running. FC01 is running. Okay. Okay, so FC01 is running. So the next thing I want to do is basically set the set point for the PID control from the recipe. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is select the FC again, and this time I'm going to say set control set point 2, and now it gives me parameter 1. So I'm going to pick PW, pre-wash flow rate here, and that should set whatever is the flow rate set by the recipe for the reset set point. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Right, so now my pump is running. It's got the speed set point. Okay, and so the next thing I want to do is wait for the reset time to elapse, right? So I need to wait for the reset time to elapse. So that's what I'm going to do. Wait for the reset time to elapse. But I want that time to come from my recipe as well. So I'm just going to say step delay time to. So depending on which step you are in, so when you set this parameter, it is going to add that much time delay for the step. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and select my pre-wash reset duration, and that should wait for 20 seconds because that's the value I've set in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and save. Okay, so in the next step, what I want to do is I want to open the cold water return valve, and once that is opened, then I will close V14, which means the water is going to start going this way to the cold water return. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. First open V17, then close V14, right? I will also need to make sure that the other valves are closed. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the open reset group. I'm going to copy that step, okay? And after the duration has ended, I'm going to paste it here, okay? And then I'm going to say open outlet. I'm going to say open return route, then close reset. Now I'm going to say open return route. Okay. So in this case, I want my V14 to close. Okay. So that is going to be closed. I'm going to save that, and I want V17 open. Okay. I want that opened, 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 and that's done. So V17 is now opened. I also need to make sure that V14, I close the V14 after V17 has opened. So I'm not going to close it right away, but I'm going to check first that the V17 has opened, and then I'm going to close V14. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is wait for the tank to be empty. So to be fair, I can just add that at the last transition condition for the same step. Okay, so I'm only going to add tank is empty, and I'm going to say level transmitter less than equal to, I'm going to say 0, and that's it. Right? So now that the tank is empty, the next thing I want to do is stop the motor and the pumps. Okay, so I'm going to go into the next step and say stop mixer and outlet pumps, and let's go ahead and do that. M01 stop, M01 stopped, M01 is stopped. Okay, let's save that. And to stop the outlet pumps, first I'm going to stop the speed controller by stopping FC01. FC01 is stopped. Okay. Then I'm going to stop the duty standby controller DS01. Make sure that it is stopped. Okay. Now that the DS01 is stopped, I also need to make sure that my pump 7 and 8 are stopped as well. Pump 07 is stopped. Okay, copy that. Go to the next one, paste it here. And instead of P07, it is going to be P08 this time. Okay, so that will make sure my both pumps are stopped, my duty standby controller is stopped, and my PID controller is stopped. Now after they're all stopped, next thing I want to do is close the root V17. But I also want to make sure that all the others are closed as well. So what I'm going to do that, I'm going to go back one step and copy the entire step. Go ahead to the next available one and paste it there. And this time it is already closed, so I can get rid of that. Make sure that is that. Just close, return root. Okay. And I also want to close 17. Okay, so now all the valves are closed as well. So that should complete the sequence. And that's pretty much it. So as you can see, I did not have to use any programming. It's a plain and simple configuration exercise when you want to build your sequence. And you can easily copy the sections sequence to make the process really, really fast. It is very interactive and very easy to use and very fast. So that's all for this tutorial video. In the next tutorial, we are going to see how you can configure hardware and I/O schedule for your project. Thank you for watching.